What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 335, and it's one of our world-renowned revisited episodes where we go back to the earliest days of Remember the Game and take another look at one of the titles we covered back then when the podcast was even worse than it is now. I used to do these every couple of months. It's been a little bit, but we're back at it this week and taking another gander at a bona fide classic, a legendary NES title, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, or the less cool but equally playable Punch-Out! Featuring Mr. Dream for the NES. We initially covered this one back 300 episodes ago. Remember the Game number 35. I didn't plan that until I wrote these notes. 300 episodes. Jesus Christ. I could not beat it back then, and I'm not ashamed to say that about 6 years later, I still cannot beat this game. I never owned it growing up. We used to rent it when I was a kid. I like Super Punch-Out! On the SNES. I'll own you that game. I've mastered that one. But Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Has owned my soul since about the third or fourth grade, and it's become a little bit of a meme around here. Remember the Game that Soda Popinski is my dad, not literally, but in the I own you, I'm your daddy sense. I am proud to say that since we recorded episode 35, almost 6 years ago, I can now beat Soda Popinski. It was only the last few weeks when I started replaying this one for the show to get ready for this episode that I finally got my head around beating Soda Popinski. I'll talk more about that in the episode this week. Now it's Mr. Sandman that owns my soul. But he, you know what? He acts tough, but he's not that bad. I'm good. Mark my words, friends. When I get back from my summer vacation, I'm beating this fucking game. We are putting this to bed. I'm going right through Mike Tyson and checking a box just like Ninja Turtles and Battletoads and Battlemaniacs and Batman on the NES with one of these tough games that I'm proud to be able to say I could beat. Could I spend that time learning how to play an instrument or speak in a second language or losing 20 pounds? Sure I could, but that's not going to impress a whole bunch of weirdos on the internet like this is, and that's what I'm here for. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about this week. It takes a special game to keep me hooked, for literally decades while constantly bending me over a barrel. But that's what Punch-Out! Does, and that's what it is. It's a very special game. I have to imagine you all know, but if by chance you don't, you play as Little Mac, who's this young boxer, and you take on opponents of increasing difficulty and blatant steroid abuse in your quest to become the world champion and take on Mike Tyson or Mr. Dream if you played the later version. Hella tough, plays perfect, looks good, and it's just one of the best games on the NES, if not one of the best games ever made, period. Now, my guest this week was supposed to be my pal Brad, who you may remember from Contra, NBA Jam, the one I bicker with the most, definitely the Little Mac to my Mike Tyson, but we ran into a little bit of a snag in the scheduling with the recording and everything like that. He's a big wig down at the Cracker Factory, and we just couldn't make it line up, so I'm going to roll solo this week. If ever there was a game that I'm comfortable talking about on my own, it is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!. As I can't even imagine how many hours. I've probably sunk fucking 15 hours into this game just in the last month getting ready for this episode. Oh, I love this game. This will not be difficult for me to talk about at all. I can't beat it, but I love it. It's a sentiment I'm sure many of you can relate to. And despite the fact that a session of Punch-Out! Usually ends in frustration, we keep coming back for more. And we'll get to all of that to talk about the game in just a minute, because speaking of constantly being frustrated but always coming back, it's time for another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. Dun, 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 dun! That wasn't my best segue. I made it work. That wasn't my best segue. If you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard. Consider this your warning. Our intros are a little bit long. They're fun. They're not that long. They're fun. We talk video games and stuff. They're a good time. And without an ounce of sarcasm, they're about 100 times easier to get past than Mike Tyson is. If you want to skip them, just take that little slider bar and go to about the 30-minute mark, and you'll be into Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! But I recommend hanging around for the whole thing. Let's talk some video games with you and stuff. It's a good time. Let me get my plugs out of the way really quick. I have to keep the bills on around here. I've been mentioning it now for about a month. Remember the Game is officially available ad-free with timestamps over on Patreon. The entire 30 335 episode back catalog. All new episodes are over there as well. Those come with a Patreon subscription of any tier. And if you want to throw at least $3 at us, you're going to get 2 additional shows a week. If you throw $5 at us, you get 4 additional shows, also without ads. You can also write into the show. You can vote on the games we cover. You get to join our 1,000+ member Discord. You get instant access to the entire archive bonus podcast library. And most importantly, you get a shout out. I get to hear me mispronounce your name like I'm definitely about to do. Actually, I might nail all these. We'll see. I think I'm going to be good. I think I'm going to nail all these. A huge thank you to our newest Patreons, Christopher Kling, Gabriel Stein, Landon Turquoise, Jara B, Kenan COYG, Prong84, and Mikey91. I feel like I got all those. Thank you all so much for the support, and welcome to Remember the Game Industries. You can find that at patreon.com/rememberthegame. There's some free Patreon episodes over there if you want to check them out and see how it works. Again, subscriptions start at $3 a month. We donate 5% of it to charity, and we offer annual subscriptions that'll get you your 12th month for free. That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in some cartridges. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our Patreons, usually gaming related, but not always, and we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
All right, we're going to blow. And just, I should point it out just really quickly. If my voice sounds worse than normal, I think I've done 9 shows in the last 3 days getting ready for my holidays. So my voice is fucked and my allergies are bothering me. So my nose is all stuffed up and I probably have a little bit of Professor Frank in my voice right now. So sorry if I sound more nasally than normal. Let's blow. Our first blower this week is Smooth Operator, who says, "Hi, Adam. I'm just curious if you could provide any rough stats or percentages of where your listeners are from. I assume the vast majority are from Canada and the U.S. Personally, I'm from the good old city of Great Britain, more specifically a place called Liverpool in the northwest of England. I'm just wondering if you have many other listeners from the UK or other parts of the world, or am I in the minority?" Yeah, I'll fucking share some stats. Yeah, you are in the minority, but that's okay. I looked these up. These are as of last week. 61% of my listeners are in the United States of America. 15% are fellow Canadians, my fellow maple syrup chugging, tree hugging beaver lovers. I don't know. That's not what I meant. Well, kind of it is. 9% of my listeners are in the UK. 4% are down under in Australia. And then there's a whole bunch of 1%. So, and 61% of you listen on Spotify as well. So I'm going to assume that's all the Americans. But yeah, if you're curious, I don't mind sharing that shit. That's where y'all are coming from. Neat. It's pretty crazy, dude. I never thought anyone would listen to this show. And to see that we have listeners in like all these places around the world is it's pretty rad. Thank you. You know what? Thank you. Thanks for listening to the show. I mean that. I'm not even, I know, sorry if it sounded sarcastic. I don't mean for it to sound sarcastic. I just, almost 7, the show turned 7 this summer, and I'm still just floored that anybody listens to it. So appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. Insert Clever Pun says, "Do you still realistically expect to get around to finishing and reviewing Avowed? If it's unlikely to get off the back burner at this point, what were your thoughts?" I do realistically want to get to Avowed. The problem, I was playing it, and then I don't remember what came out. Something else came out, and I got busy with that. And then Expedition 33 came out, and I got busy with that, and I just haven't gone back to Avowed yet. But I do want to. I liked it. I thought the story was kind of bleh, at least in the early going, but I like the combat. I love exploring. My favorite part of games like Skyrim and them are just walking around. Like, I don't even care about the story. I just like walking around, looting and pillaging and exploring stuff. So I do want to go back to Avowed at some point. But in case you're curious, for modern games, while I'm away on holidays, my hope is to finish Cyberpunk 2077, which I'm firing back up for the first time in almost a year, and I was about halfway through it. So I'm not sure how that's going to go, but hopefully well, because I'd like to review Cyberpunk. I'm also replaying Hollow Knight, which I'll review on Expansion Pass as well if I can get that done before Silksong comes out. And then I've got that Turtles Tactical Takedown from Steam, the new Turtles game, on my Steam Deck, and I want to play through that. I just finished Expedition 33, so there's a review of that coming up on Expansion Pass. When I get back, Mario Kart World is going to be my focus. I can't wait to fucking play that. And Doom the Dark Ages, which I also can't wait to play, are going to be at the top of my charts. But once those two are done, yeah, unless something crazy gets announced at Summer Game Fest, and I got to get to that first, then my plan is to get back to Avowed and get through it. So that's the hope. We'll see how it goes, but that's the dream right now. I liked it. At least the like 10 or so hours I put into it, it seemed pretty cool. Marshall Justin Cassay said, "Hey, Mr. Blank, I've had my Switch for a few months, and I only have Mario Kart 8 and Undertale. Looking for around 5 game suggestions if you could. Single player, Switch exclusives, please, and thank you." Yeah, I can do that. Mario Odyssey, must play, no question. Metroid Dread, the best Metroid game ever. Fire Emblem Three Houses is brilliant. So those are the top 3 without a question. And then I know people will write in and be like, just say the 2 Zeldas and that's your top 5. But in case you don't like Zelda, I will just say, yeah, Breath of the Wild. I would play both, but Breath of the Wild, throw it in there. And then I never thought I would say these words. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Kirby on the Switch is really fucking good. And before any of you write in and you're like, you should have said Smash Brothers or any of these other ones, they specifically said single player Switch exclusives. So that's my in this order. Start with Mario Odyssey, then Metroid Dread, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Those are my picks. Good luck and enjoy. To play Mario Odyssey again for the first time, my stars. Mr. Hooley says, Adam, I'm here for the real question. Slides or sandals? I had to look up the difference, but slides. I don't know if any of you ever worn these black Under Armour slides, and the bottom is like a nice padding, and then the top's just got that big fat thing that goes over your foot. I go through 2 pairs of those a year. I wear them everywhere. I'll wear them in the winter, like when I take the garbage out and shit. Slide. Oh, God bless Under Armour slides. G Money says, I'm impressed that you try to research the proper pronunciations of words, but ultimately you don't care. It makes me laugh every time. We're listening to Game Patch, and you looked up as Zeus, and I'm a longtime computer nerd and always pronounced it Jesus without the H sound. Oh, Azus. I'm still saying it that way, and I don't care, but it makes me laugh that you try, but also don't care in the end. I'll call it what I call it. Damn it. Yeah, I really do try. Like, I know I pronounce words wrong, but I want you all to know I really do try. The only things I don't care if I pronounce wrong on purpose are people's names. I just lean into it. The more complicated your name, the more likely it is I'm just going to say it wrong. And then if you write in and correct me on how to say it, now you're getting it double wrong. And then Ocarina of Tim. And if you're newer to the show and don't know, the reason I call Ocarina of Tim is because whenever I call it Ocarina of Time, people will be like, it's Ocarina of Time or whatever the fuck. So I finally just said I'm going to say the whole thing wrong just to make everybody angry at once. I really do try. I promise. It may not believe it, but I do try. Psychomantis23 says, hey dude, new hot dog, first time writing in. Big ups for your work. Got me hooked on Remember the Game a few years ago and I never looked back. Thank you, Psychomantis. The one genre that is now my heart and soul is single player RPGs in whatever form they come. However, I only started playing and getting into the more role play RPGs as opposed to just third person action open worlds, which were my bread and butter before, from around Skyrim when I would have been 21. I feel like I discovered my one true love in the world of gaming quite late in life, considering I'd always been a heavy gamer. Don't get me wrong, I'm still a sucker for an open world action RPG that doesn't have any actual role playing involved, like Horizon, Assassin's Creed, etc. And the genre comes very close second. But from Baldur's Gate 3 to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 to Skyrim to even classic World of Warcraft, I can just get lost in them with the immersion and find it even therapeutic. Have you got anything similar or even a genre that has come and taken over for you later on in life? Big love from London. Appreciate you writing in, Psychomantis. Yes, tactical strategy games. I don't like real-time strategy games. And I'm sorry for those of you that do, but I get asked about that a lot. I don't care for them. But I didn't play a tactical RPG until I played Fire Emblem Awakening on my 3DS. And now that's probably my top 3 genres are probably platformers, kart racers, and tactical RPGs. Like XCOM 2, we reviewed a couple of months ago, and I deep-throated that game for over an hour. It was brilliant. I just can't get enough. I love board games in real life. And when I don't know how it took me so long to discover that there were like board game video games, but I fucking love them, man. XCOM, Into the Breach, Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy Tactics, of course. I fucking love those types of games. And I was a very late bloomer on them. So if you're out there and there's like a genre of game you've never tried before, try playing one. Might surprise you. Might catch you off guard, you know? And finally, before we move on, you know what it is. It's letter time. It's letter time. The real G-Man Dan wrote in and said, good morning, or whatever time it is in the Great North, Blank Man. Kind of a motivational question for you. What do you do when you lose the drive to finish a game? Does it happen to you often? I find myself unable to finish games unless it really hooks me. I finished South of Midnight recently, but there came a point I told myself I needed to finish it just to finish it. What do you do when you hit these slumps? I think this is a common problem, real G-Man, where people, like, you start playing a game and then you're like fuck, it's like a 40-hour game and you're 30 hours in and you feel that obligation to go through to the end. If I'm playing a game not for the podcast, which doesn't happen a ton anymore, but if I'm playing a game not for the podcast, as soon as I just don't feel like playing it, I don't play it. And I'll hear the argument that, like, you spent your money on it, you should try to get your money's worth and finish it. If it's still, like, semi-holding my interest, sure. But there's so many games now. You all know that. Like, my God, my backlog is probably just as long as the rest of yours. Backlogs have gotten absolutely insane. This isn't like when you were a kid and you had 6 NES games and you just played them verbatim and over and over and over again because you had nothing else to do. Now you have so many other options. So as far as like gaming shouldn't be work. So if you're playing a game and you're sick of it, fucking drop it. Who fucking cares? I would because I think if you force yourself to finish it, your final memory of it is just going to be, I'm just mad that I had to keep going. At least that's my opinion. I will say, doing this for a job, it's a little bit different. I still don't force myself to finish every single game that I play, but if I'm not going to finish one for a review, I at least do my best. Like, I didn't finish Okami, but I got almost 30 hours into Okami. Like, I will take a big fucking bite out of a game before I sit it down, if it's for the show. But it's a little bit different when it's in air quotes, your job. They took her jobs. But if you're just playing a game for fun and you're not having fun anymore, fuck that. Just move on to something else. Don't, I can't think of another example, but why would you fucking, some people look at games as like dollars to hours. So if you spend $80 on a game, you better get at least, say, 40 hours out of it. So you got $2 an hour of fun. But if you didn't even have fun for the last 15 hours, then what the fuck? All you did was, then you just burned $30 and 15 hours of your life. And time is even more valuable than money. So fuck that. When a game's not fun anymore, just drop it and fucking move on to something else. There's always something else. Always. You know what's, yeah. I was just going to, that's a separate topic. I was going to be like, you know what else sucks is when a game does take over your life and then you finally finish it and you're just like, well, now what do we do? But that's a topic for another day. That fucking sucks too. But yeah, don't force yourself to play shit. Don't do it. All right. Thank you for writing in, Dan, and everybody that wrote into the show this week. We have to keep the ball rolling. So let's switch things up and get to our smash hit segment, the official game show of Remember the Game Industries. You know it. I know it. It's Play 1, Remake 1, Erase 1. And a huge thank you to Classic Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music for the show. The rules are simple. Every week, I give our listeners 3 retro video games. They can play one as it was released, remake one as a modern game, and the third is erased from time forever. And as always, there are no wrong answers, but there is a right one. We'll get to that in just a minute. And this week, we're talking Punch-Out. I was going to go with boxing games, but I decided to go with just NES sports games instead. So we got Baseball Stars, Ice Hockey, and Tecmo Super Bowl. And it was very, very close. This was crazy. 28% won the vote, which is very low for a winner. When there's 6 options on the polls, there's 6 combinations there. But Play Ice Hockey, Remake Tecmo Super Bowl, and Erase Baseball Stars came out on top. So let's see what a few of you had to say here, and then I'll tell you what the right answer was. Boo Earns said, Play Ice Hockey. Nothing is more fun than a close game versus a friend. Agreed. Remake Tecmo Super Bowl. I love this game, but updated rosters and online would tickle my pickle. And then Erase Baseball Stars. I spent all my time making a new team, naming all the players after my friends, and improving stats by playing the lovely ladies and using their pitcher to bean all my batters, so I won via the 10-run rule to improve stats as fast as possible. I never actually played a full baseball game. That's fucked up. Boo Earns. I'm not saying that you're like a menace to society, but you're an inconvenience to society. I wouldn't trust you with my PIN number. You are shady. That's weird. Thank you for writing in, and obviously for the support. Bab the Babs said, Play Ice Hockey. I'm Canadian. We either played Ice Hockey or Blades of Steel, and both games rocked. Agreed. Remake baseball in the style of Ken Griffey. I still think it's the best baseball game ever. And then Erase Tecmo Bowl, because although I love football today, I always found football games way too complicated to have fun playing them. That's a fair criticism. Although I will say, I learned football in my late 20s by playing Madden. Like, that was how I learned how the rules worked and because I would try to watch football and I was like, why does the clock stop now and now it doesn't stop? And why, fuck. It's a complicated game. Tecmo Bowl is a good fucking time, though. Baldo Flores said, play Tecmo Bowl because I played it and most people liked it. Remake baseball because I never played it. And delete Ice Hockey because I played and my God, this game got boring fast. The thing with ice hockey is you need a second player. By yourself, yeah, I agree. Unless you're like using a piece of like a notebook and like keeping your stats and shit, I'll hear that. Ice hockey does wear out its welcome. I agree. Virtual Alex 12 said erase baseball stars. I never played it, but I don't usually enjoy baseball games, and there's lots of other options. Play ice hockey. I'm not sure if it's the controls, the player types, or the music, maybe a combo of all three, but there's something timeless about the game that you would lose by remaking it. And then remake Tecmo Super Bowl. Adding additional teams and expanding on the play calling system with new strategies would retain the basic style, but would increase the fun factor and replayability. I don't think there's a bad answer here because I love classic sports games, but all three could be made into a modern one. So there really isn't a wrong answer in here, except for someone that plays baseball stars and fucking spends all their time jacking up their team to the best stats that never actually plays a game. That's fucked. And I am watching you through a camera. Said, play Tecmo Super Bowl. There's a reason it's the GOAT. No NFL game had more Hall of Fame quarterbacks in it. They tried to remake and it sucked. Remake ice hockey. Get some polish on that Zamboni and bring in some better features. Erase baseball stars. There are an infinite number of better baseball games. There are a lot of baseball games. I was going to say, if you were to ask me what my favorite baseball game is, but I was like, no, it's MLB The Show, which is the best modern sports game outside of WWE. But for retro ones, might be Extra Innings for the Super Nintendo, which we still haven't covered on this show. I even own it. I own a physical copy. We got to cover some Extra Innings. But remind me, listeners, to cover Extra Innings. We gotta right that wrong. I'm going with 11% of you. You voted the way I did, as would Quick Guns, who said, play Baseball Stars as a good retro baseball game, remake Tecmo Super Bowl to update the teams and rosters and add more play options, erase ice hockey, as there are better hockey games already, like Blades of Steel. I also prefer Blades of Steel, so I understand. I'm going to play Baseball Stars because I've never played it. I hear it's awesome, but I've never played it. So I'm going to play it and see what it's all about. I'm going to remake Tecmo Super Bowl basically into what Retro Bowl is, so I'm not really sure if it needs one. But if you haven't played it, dude, check out Retro Bowl for all you Tecmo Super Bowl fans and Tecmo Bowl fans. Retro Bowl I played it on my phone. It's fucking awesome. Great retro football game. And then I'm going to race ice hockey because while I love it, I have Blades of Steel, and Blades of Steel is the shit. So thank you, everybody that wrote into the show, as always. What have I been playing over the last week? Mostly Expedition 33. I beat it. I wanted to do more side content, but I just ran out of time. But I did finally finish it. I've reviewed it. That'll be coming up on Expansion Pass for our patrons next week. My spoiler-free review. Very, very, very good game. If you are a JRPG fan, I highly recommend checking out Clair Obscure Expedition 33. It's fucking awesome. Other than that, I was playing a lot of Gears 2, which you're about to hear about. I've been playing Hollow Knight on my Switch, which is awesome. I love that fucking game. And I'm ashamed to say it. I'm hoping it doesn't turn into a full-blown relapse, but I have been playing a little bit of Minecraft because I'm kind of done now. Like, I don't want to start doing the Dark Ages before I leave for holidays. I'm waiting on Mario Kart World to come out. So it's Cyberpunk and Hollow Knight are my vacation games, but I also snagged Minecraft on my Switch, and I just casually play it like at night before bed. And God, oh boy, I love Minecraft. I don't give a fuck that I'm a 41-year-old man. I fucking love Minecraft. Haters gonna hate. Minecraft is a good fucking time. And of course, I've been playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, which you're about to hear about. Oh, did I say you're about to hear about Gears 2? Sorry, I'm doing a lot of podcasts at once. That's next week's episode. No. Fuck this. I suck so hard at this. Okay, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is coming up in about 90 seconds. And then next week, it's a freebie out of our Patreon archives for the first Wednesday in June. And then you're getting Gears 2. And then you're getting Mega Man X2, which I've also been playing. So basically, I've been playing everything you're about to hear episodes about. Jesus, fuck, that should not have been that hard. Okay, we're going to pause here. I'm going to reset my brain because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. We'll let a sponsor in here to do their thing. And when we get back, it's all about Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, okay? We'll be right back after this. We've had some great partners over the years here at Remember the Game, but I don't know if any of them have hit home for me quite like Hometown Hero does. No pun intended. Don't start. It's a transparent, honest cannabis company that helps people and gives back to those that have served their country at the same time. I mean, come on. As soon as I read about these guys, I knew I wanted to work with them. Hometown Hero is a cannabis company out of Austin, Texas, and they were founded back in 2015 by a U.S. veteran. They have two goals: create premium hemp products that can help everyone, and to support veterans by donating a portion of those profits to organizations set up to take care of those who have served. Hometown Hero products are of the highest quality, and everything they offer is made right there in the U.S. of A. Gummies, caramels, chocolates, drink mix, there's something for everyone. And what's more, their hemp is grown locally in Texas, which is something they should and do take a lot of pride in. And they offer certificates of analysis for everything they sell because they want to be clear that their products are as advertised, both in terms of potency and ingredients. No contaminants, you get what you pay for. Just how they conduct business is enough to get my good eyes' attention, but when you circle back to the fact that the company was founded by a veteran and they put such heavy emphasis on supporting veterans, this isn't just lip service. I'm not reading a script I was given here. I'm proud to have Hometown Hero associated with Remember the Game. Reclaim your evening. Visit hometownhero.com and use code RTG to take 20% off your first purchase. That's hometownhero.com, code RTG for 20% off your first purchase. This is an ad by BetterHelp. A band once said, "Work sucks, I know." And I think most people agree with them. Workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress from their jobs. And while walking away from your job might not be an option, taking a little time every day to focus on yourself and your mental health can make a huge difference. I know in the summer I try to get outside every day, get a little bit of sun, and just enjoy the outdoors. It really helps. At least until my allergies attack, and then it's ugly. It's important to take steps to combat work stress, and therapy can be a huge one. It's not just for overcoming trauma. Therapy can help you define work goals, set some work boundaries, develop coping skills. It's like a cheat code for life. And if you're thinking, man, I'm too busy for therapy, well, look into BetterHelp. They make therapy as convenient as possible. You can meet with one of their over 30,000 therapists online and on your schedule, just like over 5 million people around the world already have done. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/rememberthegame. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. All right, let's get into Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. As always, I like to let you nerds sound off on the game we're covering before we hog the airwaves. And here's the thing. I've been pre-recording episodes for my holidays, right? So I posted for 4 episodes at once on Patreon. And it was Mega Man X2, Okami, Gears 2, and then Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And Mike Tyson's Punch-Out got twice as many comments as the other games. I really thought that Gears 2 got a lot of comments. Okami got some love. Mega Man's got its lovers. But Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, dude, the comments you guys went off on this one. So I'm going to rip through a bunch of these before I ramble about how much I love this game. S2S said, hey, do you think you might ever do an episode on Punch-Out for the Wii? I really love the art style of that game, and to me it pulled the best parts of the OG and Super Punch-Out. God, that game is so good. You know, I'm a long-time Wii hater. I think it's pretty well known around here. I don't care for that little waggling box. But just between me and you, don't tell anybody. I bought a Wii. I got one off of the Facebook page there. Dirt cheap. Dude, I got one for like $100. I got a Wii with 2 of the Pro controllers. And then it had like Wii Fit that I'm going to get rid of. But it came with Mario Galaxy, Mario Galaxy 2, Twilight Princess, New Super Mario Bros. For $100. Fucking pretty good deal. So not in the immediate future, but yes, I do want to, we need to show the Wii some more love on this show. So Mario Galaxy is going to get an episode. Mario Galaxy 2 is going to get an episode. New Super Mario Bros. Is going to get an episode. Twilight Princess, although I'd rather play the GameCube version, will probably get an episode. And yes, S2S, I don't know when, at some point, because I've only played the Punch-Out on the Wii like once. So in a very long-winded way to answer your question, yes, at some point, we will review Punch-Out for the Wii. We got to finish the trilogy eventually. Eric M. from Parts Unknown says, I know you won't believe me, but I beat this game when I was younger. To be fair, I was 13 when it came out, and I had grown up on the Commodore 64 and Atari 2600. The secret to a lot of those old games was pattern recognition, so I had trained for this. To beat Punch-Out, all it took was a bit of perseverance, some hints from Nintendo Power Magazine, and 2 replacement controllers. Easy peasy. I always tell people when they tell me that they beat this game, I don't believe them, but I know a lot of people have beaten it. So I guess I believe you, Eric. I like the 2 replacement controllers. That made me pop. Well done. And you're from parts unknown, which is where all the best wrestlers come from. Count Deku said, I'm not an OG NES kid, but I played this recently. I'm all for NES hard, but this game is on Ninja Gaiden's level. The strategy aspect is fun, but at a certain point, it becomes one of those, I know what to do, I just can't do it games. I imagine growing up with it and having months to practice makes it good, but the game aged poorly. Today, it's fun to play, but it sucks to beat. I do think a Balatro-style game with the gameplay of Punch-Out could be incredible. Training cards or something instead of jokers. If anyone wants to make it, I can do the art. Listen, I love Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, but I also, like I said, I have been playing it for, 35 years. I get how if you were to try it for the first time now, it's tough. And I'll tell you, I still have not beaten Soda Popinski on my Switch. But when I fired up on my actual NES, I can get to Mr. Sandman without really breaking a sweat anymore. So I do think I've never been one of those lag guys, but I think there's something to be said for the lag of playing this on the Switch. I'll hear that argument. So it's really meant to be played on an NES. Max Power says, love this game. This or the OG Metroid are probably the 2 games I've spent the most time playing in my childhood and probably my entire life. I was able to beat Tyson once. I only got to him around 40 times in the thousands of runs I've played in this game. I mimicked Soda Popinski's laugh all the time. From high school until now, I'm 43, I can go on cruise control until I get to Super Macho Man. He's my Soda Popinski. I've beaten him, but my record against him is probably 40 wins and 1,999 losses. Yeah, that's the furthest I've ever gotten, fair and square, no cheating, no cheese, no anything, is Super Macho Man. And I've only gotten there like once. Macho Man he was my biggest problem on Super Punch-Out too, growing up. He was the one that gave me the most trouble. I hate that fucking guy. Drug test. Fucking drug test. Plant Pirate said, hello, Mr. Blank. First, I can't wait for the rage you are going to give about Soda Popinski. But with that being said, I love this game. This was the first game I ever bought with my own money. I was 5 or 6. The game was only $15 brand new. My mom and I were grocery shopping. It's like a Walmart where there's a grocery store and department store in one. It was going to be bulldozed. The new building was going up because the roof... Okay, I don't mean to be rude, but this is a long fucking story. Till this day, this is my favorite NES game. That I can show my 8-year-old this game because of Switch Online. Love both this in Super Punch-Out. Can we please get a new game? Please, please, please. I also it was so crazy we got a Punch-Out on the Wii. I know they had it developed third party, but it doesn't matter. We got a Punch-Out on the Wii, and people didn't like that game. Everyone that talks about it seems to like it. And then Punch-Out just went away again. I don't get why we haven't I don't get it. If I can make a bold prediction, you're hearing this, Tuesday, May 27th, 2025 at 3:32 p.m., we're going to get a Punch-Out on Switch 2. And it's not going to be like a re-release. We'll get a new Punch-Out on Switch 2. Calling it. Also, Plant Pirate, I hope you still have your copy of this. If you got a brand new copy of this for $15, you should treasure that shit like I should have treasured my Earthbound before I sold it like Bobo, like an idiot. Chucklewagon said, though I can't beat this game, it still remains one of, if not my favorite NES title. Some of the game hasn't aged particularly well, such as the stereotypes, but man, does this game hold up. Great gameplay, hard as fuck, so you keep coming back. You either dish it out or get fed your ass. I will forever have that chiptune greatness of Mac running behind Doc playing in the back of my head. I agree. I know some of the stereotypes rattle some cages, which fair enough. But other than that, the only thing that makes it a little bit unplayable today is the delay, which we'll get into. And Nicky Boy said, this is the game that got me hooked on the NES. Still one of my favorite games of all time. I've been playing it for over 35 years, and I still can't beat Tyson without Game Genie codes. Shout out to the Game Genie. I love that thing. All right. That was all your replies. That was all your talk about Mike Tyson. I am now going to talk about Mike Tyson and his Punch-Out game if there's time. I love this fucking game. I'm going to cue up some Mike Tyson's Punch-Out music. And when it stops, I'll take you back to October of 1987 and talk Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for the NES. Let's go. All right, let's dive into Mike Tyson's Punch-Out Part 2. I love these revisited episodes, because the thing is, I love doing this podcast, but the days of, hey, I remember this game from my childhood, let's talk about it, and I haven't actually just recently replayed it or anything, are long gone. We've done 335 episodes. We've talked about every game from my childhood that I can talk about without having to replay it a little bit. And so it's nice to go back to these ones where instead of me experiencing a game for the first time, it really is one that I played the shit out of growing up. And Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is one of them. We never owned this one, and that's probably for the best because my mom used to get pretty mad at me with the game rage and all that kind of stuff, which... admittedly, now that I'm 41 and still have those problems, she was right. It's my problem. I'll deal with it. But as a kid, I can't even fucking imagine the rage quits I would have had with this game as a child. We used to rent it sometimes, and I always thought it was fun. I could never even come remotely close to beating it. I don't remember how far I would get. I do remember getting to Soda Popinski as a kid. If you've never listened to the podcast before, you've never heard me talk about it, for the better part of 35 years, Soda Popinski has owned my soul. And I finally have overcome those demons. I can beat Soda pretty easily now. I still can't beat this fucking game. But as a kid, I would have rage quit it so hard. And I know some people think this game is too tough. We were just reading the comments from some of you, and at least one was like, it's frustrating in today's day and age. And I hear that. If I didn't have as much nostalgia for it as I do, well, I don't know. I was going to say I'd probably agree, but the thing is I wouldn't. But that's just because I'm a simp for NES Tough. I don't know why. Modern tough games drive me crazy, but you give me an old NES game and make it tough as fuck, and they're my favorite NES games. I love cracking the codes. Now, the thing is, with the NES Tough games, I think most of us can agree, a lot of the, most NES games that were notoriously difficult were difficult for one of two reasons. Either they just didn't really know how to make them any better than that, which I don't think was the case in most examples. Or B, it was like, yo, our game is only a fucking hour long, and if we don't make this hard, kids are going to rent it, beat it in a weekend, and never touch it again. And I truly in my gut think that Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is, with the possible exception of Mega Man, the definitive version of NES Tough, because watch the speedrunners, man. I can get from the start of this game, I can get from Glass Joe up to about Mr. Sandman now in half an hour, probably less than that. And then after Mr. Sandman, all you've got to deal with is Super Macho Man and Mike Tyson. So I'm almost at the end of the game. So a good player could probably beat this game in a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour tops. So they had to make it difficult so that kids couldn't beat it in a weekend, or in some cases, I'm sure adults couldn't fucking beat it in a weekend. It just made it so fucking, it's so hard. This game is so fucking hard. But the thing is it's not even like cheap NES Tough. Like, I love Star Tropics. I love that game. But the end of that game is fucking horseshit. When you're in the spaceship, it's just cheap tough. It's just, here's 3 trillion enemies. Good luck surviving. I can never remember if it's Blaster Master or Master Blaster, but that's the same fucking thing. First half of that game is awesome. And then they're like, let's just throw every fucking thing we can at you and just completely fuck you over. Whenever I lose at Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, I rage. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. I rage. There's controller throwing. I get pissed off. I yell about how cheap it is and everything. But it's practically always my fault. And it's one-on-one, right? It's a boxing game, and it's just you and your opponent. And the entire game boils down to memorizing your opponent's moves and patterns, reacting to them. And as the fucking game goes on, those reactions need to be like cat fucking reactions. And throwing punches whenever you get openings. And that's why I think it's NES NES Tough done to its absolute best, because it's not NES Tough for the sake of being tough, and it's not NES Tough in the sense of let's just throw a fucking endless wave of enemies at you and just fuck you over where no one has a chance. It's NES Tough in the like, hey, if you really practice, you can get good at this. Beating Mike Tyson, and I'm not going to call him Mr. Dream. I know there's Mr. Dream too. I don't give a fuck. Beating Mike Tyson is like, I would say, is that the number one NES resume item? Like, beating Silver Surfer is probably up there. Beating Battletoads is probably up there. I mean, I'm biased because I could do it, but I think beating Ninja Turtles is up there. But like, when you're like, yo, I can knock out Mike Tyson, I'll ask, is there a soul on this fucking planet that has knocked out Mike Tyson in this game that hasn't told people Is there one? Like, of course you fucking have. Of course you have. I can't even get to Mike Tyson without using passwords. The furthest I've ever gotten is Super Macho Man, and he fucking destroys me. And when I put in the password and actually go and fight Mike Tyson, he fucking destroys me too. This game is fucking notoriously difficult, but it's just so well balanced, and it feels fair. I'll also tell you this. Playing it on my Switch, I'm not one of those blame it on the lag, it's the lag fucking people, Dark Side Phil. But this one I can't beat Soda Popinski on my Switch. I can't do it. I can do it on my NES. And I have my NES hooked up through a splitter into my capture card onto a 4K monitor. So that's not the most optimal way to play your NES either. And I can get to Mr. Sandman now without breaking a sweat. And I can give Mr. Sandman a fight. Like I'll be able to beat him pretty soon. I'm still not quite sure how Tyson's gonna go, but it's the only game I've played where I noticed those microseconds, like those few frames of lag on the Super Nintendo or on the NES Online on my Switch. I see what Popinski's gonna do. That's as far as I can get on the Switch. I can't react fast enough. It just feels, maybe it's like a mental thing, but I don't think it is. It just feels more reactive on my NES. So I will, like, if you've been playing this on your Switch to get ready for this episode or just for fun or whatever the fuck, and you're like, I can't beat insert whatever boxer here, as long as you can get past Glass Joe, it might be a Switch problem. If you can't get past Glass Joe, that's on you. That's on you. Now, I've always loved Super Punch-Out more than Mike Tyson's Punch-Out because I owned Super Punch-Out growing up, and you guys have heard me do this dance 100 times. I played the living shit out of Super Punch-Out. I know that game I can fire that game up and beat it in 25 minutes. Like, I love that. I do think it's the better game, but I gotta tell you, I've spent more time with Mike Tyson's Punch-Out in the last couple of weeks than I have in years, and I don't know if I'm quite ready to walk that statement back, because I do still like Super Punch-Out more. It's obviously much better looking. I think the combat in it is better as well, like the actual boxing itself. But there's a lot of things Mike Tyson's Punch-Out does compared to Super Punch-Out that are really winning me over. And the first one is that it's multiple rounds. When you play Super Punch-Out, it's one round. And if you can't win it by time, you lose. Whereas in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, you get 3, in air quote, 3-minute rounds. It's like the classic, I don't know who decided that, because even like Super Mario Brothers is like this. I don't know who decided that in-game clocks can't actually be 1 second to 1 second. They need to be like 2.2 seconds to 1 second. But you do have 3-minute rounds, but that 3 minutes is fucking flying. Watch that clock. That 3 minutes is flying by in about 90 fucking seconds. So I like that you get three rounds, and between each round, you get to sit in your corner and Doc will give you some pretty useless fucking advice, like float like a butterfly, sting like a mosquito, or bite like a mosquito. Thanks, Doc. Or like get out of his way. And that's my that's my favorite one, because another thing that's cool is that I wanted to call it the intermissions, but between rounds, if you're really getting your ass kicked, then Little Mac, your boxer, looks pretty fucking beat up in the little like cartoon block of him, and on the other hand, if you're beating the shit out of your opponent, they look pretty beat up in their little block. But I just love when I'm sitting there and my face is all beat to shit from fucking Mr. Sandman, and I look like I've been through hell, and I got it. Little Mac is like, I can't win, Doc. And Doc's like, yes, you can. Get out of the way. And I'm like, oh, I never even thought of that. Thanks, you fucking diabetic piece of shit. Appreciate your help. No offense to anyone with diabetes. One of the cooler conditions under the sun. Much cooler than asthma, that's for sure. But I like that you have 3 rounds, and here's a little tip. I'm not one to give a lot of tips, especially on games like this that I don't know that well. But if you didn't know, I think you can only do it once per fight. But between the rounds, when you're in the corner talking to Doc, if you mash select, Doc like massages your shoulder really fast, and you will get some health back. It seems to be random. Like, I assumed it was how many times I can hit select or how fast I hit select. But if there's a system to it, I don't know. Sometimes I get like my full health bar back, and sometimes it barely goes up at all. So that's one of the things I definitely like more about Mike Tyson's Punch-Out than Super Punch-Out, is that you get 3 rounds instead of 1. And at the end of the 3 rounds, if no one's been knocked out, then it goes to the judge's decision, which is fucking awesome too. Super Punch-Out, I don't know why they didn't bring that over. That's ridiculous. I love that they bring the judge's decision over. I just recently found out that that decision is just based on your score. I thought it actually has something to do with how many punches you landed and how many times you knocked out your opponent or vice versa, but it doesn't. It just depends on what kind of score you put up during the 3 rounds. And if you beat a certain score, you win by decision. I've never lost by decision. If a computer's gonna beat me, then I don't fucking lose by judge's decision. All right, if I'm gonna lose, I'm getting knocked the fuck out. That's how I'm losing. But I have won some by decision, and I don't know how real boxers feel, but I don't like it. Feels cheap. Like, I like that it's in the game. It's more realistic. But if I beat somebody by decision, I'm like, did I win? Must be how Apollo Creed felt after Rocky won. He's like, man, I won, but I didn't beat him. That's how I feel whenever I win a match by decision. So that's one of the things I like more. Another thing I like more about this one than Super Punch-Out is the stamina meter. In Super Punch-Out, you can just punch as much as you fucking want. And you have like a power bar at the bottom of the screen. And as you're landing punches, it fills up. And when you take damage, it goes back to empty and you need to fill it up again. But as long as you can avoid getting hit a few times, you can fill it up. And then you can throw unlimited super punches or rapid speed punches as long as your meter is full. In this one, and it's such a better system, you need to, oh yeah, I was talking about stamina. Well, it's 2 for 1. So to get your super punches in this one, which is the other thing I like better about I guess the only thing I like better about Super Punch-Out is the boxers and the graphics. Now that I think about it, Punch-Out is the best. Like, it's got the rounds, it's got the judge's decision. To get your knockout punches in this one, you need to. Every boxer has like a certain opening. There's a certain moment where you can kind of sneak in a quick punch or a haymaker. I don't know the terms of punches. I've been in like one fight in my life and got my ass kicked. But like, you throw in a quick punch, and if you land it, you get that little star show up above their head. Then you have one super punch saved in the corner with a star. And if you get hit once by that boxer, your opponent, you'll lose your super punch. Or at the end of the round, you'll lose your super punch. But in the meantime, at any point, if you hit start, Little Mac will wind up and throw that fucking big haymaker. And does it ever? Everyone that's played Punch-Out, tell me how good it fucking feels to put one of them on their ass with those super punches. And even just finding the holes to draw the super punch from. Like, you need to find whatever spot it is where they're going to leave themselves open to catch them. And that was one of the reasons I finally was able to start beating Soda Popinski. And after the break, I'll work through each of the boxers I can get to and everything. But that was one of the ways I finally was able to beat Soda Popinski, is when he throws his big uppercuts. I want to make this clear. I have never looked up help for this game. People have tried to teach me how to like cheese Popinski. I refuse to do it. I've never looked up the strategies this is one of those ones, like, I don't know, maybe I'm sadistic. I'm a sadistic fuck, but like, I get off on cracking the code and figuring out how to do it myself. So I don't like backseat gaming, and I don't want to look up any ways on how to beat this myself. I want to fucking earn it. I want to grind through it and fucking earn it. So one of the ways I found with Popinski was finally when he goes down for his big uppercut, I don't know how to explain it, but like, you dodge to the left or the right, then you come in and start throwing punches. And normally you can tag him, I think, 4 times after an uppercut. But if you kind of do it delayed, like, it's hard to explain, but it just feels different. You'll catch him and get that star punch instead. And then I fucking throw that. I fucking love knocking that piece of shit out. So I like that. And then, as I mentioned, I like the stamina meter in this game, because beside the stars in the corner, which are your knockout punches or your super punches, there's a heart with a number beside it. And every time you get hit, or every time you throw a punch and it gets blocked, you lose some of your heart numbers. And if that heart goes down to zero, then Little Mac turns all pink and his arms drop and he just looks gassed, and you dodge slower and you can't throw punches. And then you're on nothing but defense for a few seconds. You have to dodge a few punches and get your energy back. And I really like that system too, because it kind of forces you to, at least some of the later boxers, it kind of forces you to pick your spots a little bit more. You can't just stand there and mash punch, mash punch, mash punch. It drives me fucking crazy against Don Flamenco, because that piece of shit just keeps blocking. He does the rope-a-dope strategy of wearing you out and blocking your punches until Little Mac's fucking gassed, and then he starts teeing off on you with his stupid rose teeth. Piece of shit. But so I like that better. I like the stamina better. The knockout punches, the 3 rounds, the judge's decision. Mario as the referee is fucking awesome. I like the between round cards where you can like get advice from Doc and listen to them. It's really the only things it doesn't have going for it against Super Punch-Out are the graphics, the combat, and Super Punch-Out has save files that also keep track of your times and everything. And I can't remember. I'm gonna look that shit up. Did this come out after Zelda? Because I'm curious, I can't help but like the password system is fine, But it's like you couldn't put save files in here and you couldn't let us keep track of our best times, especially because it shows you your times. When did The Legend of Zelda come out? The Legend of Zelda on the NES. Because if I'm not mistaken, and if I am, someone will fucking let me know. If I'm not mistaken, that was the first NES game with a battery in it. So in North America, that was in August of 1987. Punch-Out was in October of 1987. It was 2 months later. So I don't know. I'll hear it. To me, it should have had a battery pack in it. I mean, the passwords are nice, and the passwords are just a phone number, so they're not too long or too hard to remember. And then I like that. I wish you could just go from boxer to, like, it'd be nice if you got a password for each boxer, so that you could just skip ahead to the last boxer you left out on. This one doesn't. It takes you through the minor circuit, and then it takes you through the major circuit, and then it takes you through the world circuit. And at least up until near the end of the world circuit, your passwords just take you to the beginning of each of the circuits, which is like not the end of the world, but I do wish it went a little bit, I wish it was a little bit more specific and you could pick your spots a little bit. Because now whenever I fire it up, like I know the password off the top of my head, it's 777-807-3454 will take you right to the World Cup. And then I got to fight my way through that circuit again. And the only problem is that, like, I can beat the first couple in that circuit, like, because that's the other thing too, is when you get to that third circuit, it's just repeats of a lot of the old boxers until near the end. And like, I can beat Piston Honda again, and then Soda Popinski, I can finally fucking get by that piece of shit. And then I can beat Bald Bull, and I can beat Don Flamingo. But I wish I could just skip ahead to now Mr. Sandman instead of having to fight my way through that circuit again. But at the same time, it's kind of fun to go back and fight the boxers you know how to beat. I don't know if any of you do this, even as far back as like Glass Joe. I'll go back to the boxers I know how to beat and sometimes just experiment and try throwing punches at weird times and see if I can find where to get the star punch. Like the one that I cannot find the star punch timing for, and don't write in and tell me. I'll find it. I'll find it. Is Don Flamingo. So in fact, I want to go through the roster because that's really all that's left to talk about in this game. It's a legendary game, but it's really not that deep. So here's let's do this. Let's pause here. I'll let a sponsor in to do their thing, and then when we get back, we'll work our way through the roster of this thing, and I'll tell you how much I love most of the characters, but hate a couple of them in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. We'll be right back after this. Round 2. After what do they say in boxing when they go to a commercial? We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. I don't watch boxing. Anyway, here. True story. Like, I'm ashamed to admit the only boxing matches I think I've ever watched in my life are I watched when Manny Pacquiao fought Floyd Mayweather, and that was terrible. And then I know I did it. You fucking did it too. Don't fucking lie. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. You fucking watched it too. And we all know it was shit. I don't know. And then I like watching like highlights. I love watching Mike Tyson highlights, man. Mike Tyson in his prime. Fucking Jesus Christ. The game version of Mike Tyson really isn't that fucking different from real life Mike Tyson from this era anyway. So, okay. So we'll start with Glass Joe. I always have preferred Gabby J from the Super Nintendo, which is just their Glass Joe, Gabby J, yay. But Glass Joe's great because he comes out, his record's like 1-99 or something. I love that they show their records too. That's a big thing for me. He comes out and then he just fucking like stands there for most of the time. You need to hit him 3 or 4 times before he'll put his gloves up to block. Listen, I can live with losing to Glass Joe if you're learning the controls or you've never played it before or you're blind or you're under the age of 5. I can live with any of those reasons if you've lost to Glass Joe. But if none of those apply and you've lost to Glass Joe more than once, I don't know if I want to take your gamer card away, but you gotta, come on now. You just gotta keep punching, right? He's just basically there to teach you the controls. And that's one of the reasons sometimes I'll start from the beginning just to like warm up. Like I won't put in the password and I'll just work my way through the first couple of circuits just to warm up a little bit and beat the shit out of a couple of guys. But then after a little while, I'm like, no, this is no. I can't. Like if I put in a long session, like once you game over, like when you lose a couple of times and you game over, I'm passwording. I'm not going back. Glass Joe is fun once, and then it's had enough. Von Kaiser is basically just Glass Joe with a mustache if he threw some punches. He's still very easy. But even, I mean, Glass Joe does it a little bit, but Von Kaiser is the first one. He's got that big mustache, and every time before he throws a punch, he has like this nervous tick where for a good second, he just like puts his hands up and shakes his head, and you watch his mustache twitch back and forth. And it's basically the game telling you it's time to dodge. Oh, and that's another thing. I love that you can dodge to the left, you can dodge to the right, you can hold up to block your face, or you can double tap down and you'll duck. I never use the duck. I don't know if anybody ever uses it. I never use the duck. But one thing I didn't realize for a long time growing up playing this game was if you hold left or right, you'll do like the long, slow, lean out of the way and laugh at him, Spider-Man dodging Flash Thompson's fists, slow motion style dodge. That's a pull for you. Shout out to Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Whereas if you just tap left or right, you'll do this really fast fucking and that was one of the things that finally helped me start fucking beating that piece of shit Popinski as well, was if I did the slow dodge sometimes, I was too late, but the fast dodge would get me out of the way before he could fucking tag me. So if you didn't know that, now you know. Just quickly, like just as a feathered touch, tap left or right, and you'll do a fast dodge off to the side. So Von Kaiser, like Glass Joe, is basically teaching you how to punch up, how to punch down, and how to use your star punches. And then Von Kaiser is teaching you to like watch out for the little ticks, you know, before they start actually throwing punches at you. I thought this list I had broke them down into their circuits, but it doesn't. So I'm going to bring that up right now. Punch out circuits. Also, I should say I've never played the arcade version of this, so I have nothing to, I know I've never even seen it. I don't think I've ever even seen the arcade version. I would love to try one someday though. I'd love to fucking try one. Here we go. World circuit, minor circuit, major circuit. That's what I was looking for. Minor circuit. I should have had this up. Sorry, I thought I did have it up. So yeah, so you beat up Glass Joe, 1-99, great record. Then you beat up Von Kaiser, he's pretty easy. And then you've got to fight Piston Honda to win the minor circuit championship. And Piston Honda, like, again, I don't find him hard, but as a kid, it took me quite a while to figure out Piston Honda because he's just a little bit faster, and to like signal his punches, he doesn't have that giant curly fucking mustache wobbling all over the place. He just he's got the people's eyebrows. And they're just up and down a few times, and then he's tagging you. So that's the first one where, like, you need to get a little bit fast. It's still pretty easy, but I like it in classic Nintendo fashion, man. Listen, for every time I've sat here and said Nintendo hates their fans and stuff like that, which is true, there's been another session where I've sat here and just deep-throated Nintendo. And one of the things I really think they've done well ever since Super Mario Brothers is they're great at slowly ramping up difficulty and teaching you something new in every fight or in every level or whatever the fuck, and getting you ready for the next fight or the next level. And I really think that's what the minor circuit in this game is for. And it does a really good fucking job. It's like once you beat Piston Honda, I feel like that's the game telling you, like, all right, you've proven you know how to play. You know how to dodge. You know how to punch. What is it? Duck, dodge, dip, dive, dodge. No, dodge, duck, dip, dive. I haven't seen dodgeball in a while, but it's like, all right, now we're throwing you into major circuit, and this is where things are going to get a little bit hairier. And there are a couple of fights in major circuit that have given me trouble from time to time. Also, I want to say in major circuit, the ring goes green, and I just think it's ugly as fuck. The light blue green for minor, and then the dark blue green for the dark blue mat for minor, and then the light blue mat for world are both great. But I fucking hate that like lime green mat for major circuit. That fucking drives me crazy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just fucking drives me crazy. Anyways. So you get into major circuit, and then in that one, it starts off with Don Flamenco, and that's the guy. Fucking drives me crazy. I can't figure out how to get a star punch against him. He's the one that comes out with the rose in his mouth that he's fucking like salsa, is it salsa-ing? Doing the waltz, the robot, I don't know, the dance. He's fucking doing that stupid dance when he comes down to the ring or into the middle of the ring or whatever the fuck. But then when you go to fight him, like sometimes, especially when you fight him for the second time, because a lot of these guys you fight again in the later circuit. But when you fight him for the second time, at least sometimes he throws punches pretty quick. But if you can get out of the way, then you got time to land a few. But in his first mode, he's so bad for just standing there and like taunting you, like come on, like it goes wah, 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 which I love as well. And it's like taunting you, and then you'll throw a punch and he'll block it, and once he blocks it, then he'll throw a punch back, and then you can dodge and then hit him a few times. But I've never taken him without, like, I've always been out of stamina before I get him down the first time because I just can't find the fucking star punch on him, and I gotta just keep throwing punches and waiting. I don't know. And the thing about it is I know that it works. Like, he never touches me. I know it works. I just throw my punch, let him fucking rope-a-dope me. I'll deal with the stamina, run out once or twice, and then I usually beat him by the end of the first round, and it's just a pain in the ass. So that's one guy that I need to start experimenting against and looking for that star punch, because he fucking drives me crazy. He's just tedious. But then after him is King Hippo. And King Hippo is one of my favorite boxers in this game. I'm sure many of you may remember King Hippo from such programs as Captain N, the Game Master. He was in there, the big fat guy with the crown, the boxer. He was one that gave me trouble a lot when I was a kid too, because you can't hit him in the face. He's always blocking the face. And then finally, I realized that, like, sometimes he just throws a quick jab and you just have to get out of the way, but then he raises his arm above his head and yells. And when he does that, he opens his big fucking mouth, and all you have to do is pop him in the teeth once. And then when you do, his shorts fall down, and then you can just tee off on his gut. And dude, you do that like 6 or 7 times. You only have to knock him down once, and you KO him every time. So he's super easy. Oh, that's another thing. Some of these guys like have automatic KOs. Like any of them that have a move where they'll back off and then come in for like a flurry attack. Obviously, Bald Bull's charge is the most iconic of all those. If you can land a punch on them when they're coming in for their attack, a lot of the time you'll knock them down, and sometimes you'll KO them. And one of the things I like about this game too is I'm sure there is a system to when it knows when to let them get up before 10 and when it doesn't. But I don't know for a lot of these boxers when that system is. So I get really excited, especially later in the game, the last few, where I'll knock them down, and then God bless them, little fat Mario comes in as the referee and he's counting. And I love when they get up at like 5 and then fall back down. And then it really does, because again, I just don't know when they get up and when they don't, or if it is randomized or isn't. I've never really paid that much attention. But if I'm not sure, I get so amped up once it gets past 7, and I'm like, oh, come on, fuck. And then sometimes you really do. I KO'd fucking Popinski today, and it fucking just, I came. It was incredible. It felt so good. So it was like, but then other times they get up at like 9 and then they get their whole fucking health bar back, and then you got to keep going. I also like that the clock stops when they're down so that they can't be saved by the bell. That's good shit too. But I like that you never know if you're going to actually KO them or not. So Don Flamenco is annoying, and then King Hippo is easy. And then Great Tiger, the only thing I don't like about Great Tiger, I find his tell before he punches very difficult to see, at least when I'm playing this from my NES on my 4K monitor, because it is a little bit fuzzy. And before you write in, I fucking know I need to get a CRT TV. I know I do. I agree. I agree. I'm doing my NES a disservice, but it's all I have right now. But it's a little bit fuzzy. And when you're fighting Great Tiger, he's got his turban on, and it's got that like that jewel in the front, and it flashes before he punches. And I find it very difficult to see on my screen with it being kind of fuzzy. So it doesn't usually beat me, but there are times where like he'll land a few punches on me just because I can't see the flashing jewel on his head. Plus, he's got that fucking attack where he backs up and he turns into like a fucking ghost, and he spins around 5 times, and all you need to do is duck. Or whatever, or block, I mean. And if you do it, like, he'll punch you 5 times. He'll get a little bit of damage on you with each punch, but as long as you've got more than like a fifth of a bar of health, you'll eat it no problem. And then once he throws the 5, then he stands there gassed, and then you just uppercut him and knock him down. But I fucking hate that goddamn attack, because the number of times he's busted out that fucking attack with like 10 seconds left in the round, and he's got like 1 hit left, and I know I can KO him if I can, or a TKO, I mean, if I can just throw this last fucking punch, and then I need to wait out that fucking attack, and he buys himself to the end of the round. It drives me bananas. And I think you can tag him. And that's another one. Like, I've been so obsessed with just trying to beat this fucking game that I haven't been trying to experiment as much with some of these newer the lower boxers and find more strategies. I need to do a few fights against him where I just try to tag him when he's doing his like ghost run, just to see if you can, because I bet you can. I bet you there's a way you could tag him in there. And that's again where passwords that take you to the individual boxers would just be so convenient instead of fucking having to go through the whole goddamn, because he's the third one in that cup. So that circuit. So if I put in the password, then I got to deal with stupid Don Flamenco and his stupid blocking punches fights. And then King Hippo, he could beat in like 40 seconds. And then I get another crack at Great Tiger, where I could try to find his timing. And then the major circuit is wrapped up with Bald Bull, who I got to say, like, the world circuit version of Bald Bull, he'll fuck you up. But the major circuit one, he's a cakewalk. The only thing you need to watch out for with Bald Bull is the infamous Bald Bull Rush, which is the flying V of boxing maneuvers. Like the fly. Listen, I love the Mighty Ducks as much as the next person, but the flying V is a horrible play. And the bald bull charge, he just backs up across the entire ring, hunches over like he's, and then he hops, and then throws an uppercut. And all you need to do is punch him in the gut on his third hop. And on the major circuit, like if you've ever struggled to land that knockout punch on the major circuit, just stand there. Just give it like just I promise you, if you go for it, you'll get it 4 out of 5 times if you just have the balls to stand there and try it. It's really not that hard. On the world circuit, I do struggle with it sometimes, especially on the fucking Switch. My God. But so you do that, you knock him out. Now you're the major circuit champ, and now you get to go up the worlds. I also love that between each circuit, you get to watch that training montage of Doc riding his bike with Little Mac jogging behind him. Will say should be skippable. I know that this was so far before the era of cutscenes now and everything, but should be skippable. I get a little bit not irritated, but I do find myself mashing the button. Does anyone else do that? You mash the button to try to skip something that you know you can't fucking skip just for I don't know, maybe you're thinking like, maybe this is the time, and you keep hitting the button anyway, so I don't know. So then once you win the major, then you're up in the world circuit, and this is where you start playing for keeps, and this is where you start refighting. You fight Piston Honda to start it out, and Piston Honda, like all the boxers you rematch with in the world circuit are like sped up, faster. I think they do more damage with their punches and can take more punches, but don't quote me on that. If anything, they're at least faster. Like they still have their tells, and I think the tells are even the same, but there's like a third of the time from when they do the tell to when they throw their punch. Even as early as Piston Honda, man, like the first fight in the world circuit, like you need to be quick on the draw with your dodges. I can beat him pretty well every time I fight him, but this isn't like, you can almost be half asleep in the early fights in this game. You need to be ready, because after you get through Piston Honda, you deal with the bane of my gaming existence, Soda Popinski, who I have just finally figured out how to beat, and not cheesing him. I know there's like a way you can duck when he throws his uppercut or something. I've never done that. The problem with Soda Popinski for me, if you'll all just indulge me and let me air my grievances here, the problem I've always had with Soda Popinski is I really find he's the first guy. Like the speed from the time he shows a signal that he's going to throw a punch to the time he throws it, it is like, and I know they get faster like with Super Macho Man and fucking Tyson, of course. But I find even the jump from Piston Honda as the first fight in the world circuit to Soda Popinski, like I've been looking online and like just reading about it. A lot of people are like, Popinski's where it starts to get serious. And my problem was his tells are so quick that he's constantly just like moving, like just kind of jumping back and forth, like he's, loose on his feet. And I would let it fake me out, and I would try to like pre-guess, okay, it's been like a second and a half, he's about to throw a punch. And so I would try to dodge before he would throw his punch. And I knew I was doing it, and I couldn't stop myself. And to this day, like I've gotten pretty good at it. I beat him like 4 out of 5 tries now. But even then, if I start trying to pre-guess when he's going to throw his punch and dodge out of the way, what happens then is you fucking dodge, and then as Little Mac is coming back into the pocket, I don't know, whatever, the punch zone, now Popinski is throwing the fucking punch I was trying to guess he was going to throw. He tags me once, then it throws my timing off. I was in my equilibrium, but he's not actually hitting me. So like then that's how seriously I take this game. So then I try to dodge again, and I'll fucking come in and he'll tag me again, and then it's over, because he can knock you out in about 4 punches if you let him hit him. Let him hit you. And so finally, what's got me over the hump with Popinski, if any of you are struggling with him, what's finally got me over the hump with them is you gotta just trust your reflexes and just fucking stand there and just wait. Just fucking wait. Because he's only got he has 4 attacks. He's got his big uppercut where he's gonna go down on like one knee, and as soon as you see him go down, lean over. It's and all you gotta do is like, I know it sounds so simple, but I know a lot of you are probably in the same boat I have where you've struggled with it. You gotta watch where, like, he's gonna be just moving back and forth, and it's so easy to think like, oh fuck, here comes one of his punches, because you gotta move the second he goes into his punch animation. But it's not him hopping back and forth. It's when he goes down on a knee, dodge. And that's the one where if you're out of the way for the right amount of time and then come in, instead of being able to hit him 4 or 5 times, you'll only hit him once, but you'll get a star out of it. So he's got that punch. He's got that stupid one where he'll like run in place for a second and then just throw 3 haymakers. That one's really easy to dodge. He's got a jab, and I've seen, I watch a lot of Summoning Salt videos. Shout out to Summoning Salt, friend of the show. And I don't know if he's current, but many-time world record holder for the fastest knockout of Mike Tyson in this game. But I've watched him, and that jab from Soda Popinski can fuck up a speed run because he doesn't even really give a signal. He'll just pop you, and he only does it once. But it's enough to take away a star punch if you've earned one, and it's so fucking frustrating. And then he's got like the big body shot where he'll just lean over to the side. And again, it doesn't even matter what side you go to. It is such a difficult discipline for me to fucking just stand there and wait for him to move. And that's all I got to do. And if I just wait for him to move and then let my reflexes take over, I can beat him just about every time now. You just got to fucking wait and let him do his thing. So then after you get through that piece of shit, then you've got Bald Bull, the rematch with him, and all it is a faster version of what he was in Major Circuit. I don't really find him that bad because he'll quickly like spin his hands in a circle and then throw a quick jab, and all you got to do is dodge and you can tag him once. And then he'll do this thing where he's like fake blocking, and then you can uppercut him and get a star punch, and then he always goes for the body shot afterwards. So you wait for him to do his fake blocking, punch him in the face, get your star punch, and then he'll reach over to do his body shot, just lean over to the side, come back in, hit him a couple times, and then star punch him. The only thing I find really difficult about Bald Bull, like I found Bald Bull so much easier than Popinski owned me for 3 decades. Bald Bull was like 20 minutes. And then I was like, oh no, I got this one. I can beat this guy. I don't know what it is. I think it's a mental thing with me and Popinski. Like if any of you ever played like a Souls game or any of those games where there's like a really tough boss and it like gets in your head and you're like, I'm going to choke. That's how I felt with Popinski. Whereas Bald Bull, I'm just like, I already own you. I can beat you. The only thing that's tricky about Bald Bull in this one is his bull charge is faster. The margin for, I don't know how many frames it is that you can land that punch to knock him down when he goes for the charge, but it's always worth going for unless you've already been knocked down twice and you can't afford the KO. It's always worth going for because it doesn't matter how much health he has, you'll put him down. But that timing on that body shot when he's charging at you needs to be pretty precise. Then you have the rematch with Dom Flamenco, and the only thing that pisses me off about it, he throws more punches in this one, which is nice. He doesn't give you a lot of warning before he throws his punches, and that's okay. But he'll fucking hit me 2 or 3 times, get my stamina down, then he'll start doing his fucking rope-it-up thing, where again, I need to just keep throwing punches until I can get him to open up and let me hit him. It fucking drives me goddamn crazy. I hate him, and he can't dance. But I can beat him now. Then you get to Mr. Sandman, and I'll ask you this. Look up all the characters from this game. I'm looking at art of all of them right now. By a country mile, Mr. Sandman is the scariest looking man in this game. He just looks like he's been through about 4 divorces and he's had enough. He's just snarling the whole fucking time until he beats you and then he laughs, but he's just snarling and he's giving me some fits now, but I've only been trying to beat him for a day or two. Really trying to beat him because I've been trying to catch up on shows for this podcast. But I'm going to work on this. That's my summer project this year is to finish Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I see what you got to do with him. Again, it's just kind of like Soda Popinski. You can't be dodging too fast. You got to stand there and fucking wait for him to take his shots. But again, like if there's a difference from when Piston Honda shows his punches to when Soda Popinski does, there's another difference from when Soda Popinski does to when Mr. Sandman does. Like it's getting fast now. You need to be quick. And I am slightly concerned that there's too much delay with my NES going through my capture card and everything onto the 4K monitor for me to be able to beat. So it's him, it's Super Macho. I've only gotten to Super Macho Man a couple of times, and I find him to be the toughest fight in Super Punch-Out, and he fucking destroys me in this. Like, I've never come close to beating Super Macho Man in this game. And then if you happen to get through Macho Man, there's the legendary Mike Tyson fight. I do love that there's a password to take you right to the Mike Tyson fight. I'm sure we've all done it, and then Tyson's beat the shit out of all of us. You have to have a pretty near flawless fight to beat Mike Tyson. And I don't have much else to say about it right now other than my record against him is 0 in about 450. But I solemnly swear, friends, that I am going to beat this fucking game. I will beat that son of a bitch. And if that means I need to go and get this fucking CRT TV to hook my NES up to get rid of those last couple of frames of lag so I can fucking do it, then that's what I'll do. But I don't think that's the case. I really don't. I'm like, same as like Mr. Sandman. I don't want it to sound like I'm making an excuse that I have too much delay in my monitor from my NES and that's why I can't beat him. I don't think that's the case. I think I'm just not fast enough yet. It's one of those, it's a puzzle fighter. That's how you'd almost describe the genre of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. You just have to fight the same people over and over again until you learn their strategies and you learn those little intricacies of their moves and what it is they want to do. And once you've got those down, then it's just a matter of executing. It's just that as you get later on in the game, like when you're fighting Glass Joe and fucking Von Kaiser, you have all the time in the world. You can make half a dozen mistakes and it doesn't matter. You make 2 or 3 mistakes against Mr. Sandman or fucking Tyson, and it's, well, reload and fucking try again. So I am gonna beat those pieces of shit. I've never fought Mr. Dream. For those of you that I can't, if by some chance you don't know, this was originally Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and then after Nintendo's licensing agreement with Mike Tyson ran out, they just kept printing the game, but they printed it as Punch-Out featuring Mr. Dream, and Mr. Dream is just like a palette swap version of Tyson. So I've never fought him. I know it's the exact same fight, but it just doesn't hit the same. If you're like, hey, I can beat Mr. Dream, you're like, what kind of name is that? But you're like, I can beat Mike Tyson. Bow down to the king. So I don't want to beat Mr. Dream. I want to beat Mike Tyson. I'm trying to think. I never know when I'm doing these. I mean, like the only other thing I think I could think to mention from this game is like some of the characters are a little bit a little stereotypical, but I really don't find them that bad. The only one that's funny to me is Soda Popinski because in the original game, I can't remember what he was called. Fuck, what was he called? He was like a drunk, and like Soda Popinski first. Real name. That's what comes up right away. Yeah, Soda Popinski's original name was Vodka Drunkinski. He was renamed Soda Popinski in later versions due to censorship and Nintendo's policy of removing alcoholic beverages. So, like, I love that his name was Vodka Drunkinski, but even Soda Popinski, like, the man clearly has an alcohol problem. And I love that when you fight him, he's got a bottle, he's got a green glass, like, it clearly looks like a wine bottle, or I guess a vodka bottle, but it says pop. My voice is cracking a lot tonight. It says pop right down the side. And then even then, he still talks about, like, he still makes drunk references in the comments, like when he's talking shit to you, which I fucking love. He's still basically implying that he's shit-faced, but he's not actually saying it. Fucking Nintendo has to ruin our fun. I hope that Soda Popinski got the help he needs. I think he did. And that's why he made it into the Wii one. They were like, you know what? He's been clean for a while. Let's throw him a bone. Let's get him some residuals and let's throw him into the modern game. So, I think that's I never know when I do these episodes by myself. Again, this was supposed to be with my buddy. Things went awry and we didn't have time to course correct. But this is also like truly one of my favorite games of all time. And it's climbing my list. I love retro games. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I like playing retro games. And even though the Super Nintendo is my favorite retro system of all time, the NES is just special, man. There's something about playing a game on my NES, putting that cartridge in, pushing it down, hearing the door like that little screech it makes when you push it closed. I love that my voice cracks when I don't want it to crack, and then when I need it to squeak, it won't fucking squeak. But like the little hatch closes, and then having to push with the power and the reset button and jiggle the cartridge and get it fucking working. Don't blow it doesn't fucking work. But jiggle it around to get it working. And then once it does get working, there's just something so artistic about the NES controller, a little brick in your hand that cannot be broken. You got a D-pad, start, select, B, and A. And Mike Tyson's Punch-Out just is, it uses every button. It uses start to throw your super punch because you only had 2 buttons, and B is your left hand and A is your right. So it found a way to work this extra punch in without having to hit, like, I would have assumed they would make it hit A and B at the same time. But they're like, no, you're not going to be pausing in the middle of your fights anyway, so just use the fucking start button. Every time I play a game on my NES, I just fall in love with it again. Like, I've been playing a lot of Contra on my NES lately, and I love it. Super C, Mega Man, Mario, Punch-Out, Batman, Battletoads. I fucking love my NES. And Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is a must-have in any NES collection. It's if you collect, you don't have to, if you want to get cheap and get the Mr. Dream version, you can, because it does come a little bit cheaper than Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. But if you're collecting NES cartridges, you gotta have the Mario trilogy, and I really feel like you gotta have Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I think it's fucking remarkable that game is creeping up on 40 years old, and it still is playable right now as it was 38 fucking years ago. Assuming that you're interested in what it does, because again, some people wrote in being like, "Dude, I find this just frustrating." I get it, but for those of you that are suckers for punishment like me, this is one you gotta have in your library, man. I fucking love this game. If I need to score Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, what do I fucking score it out of? How many boxes are in this thing? Not counting the double ups, 11. So let's go out of 11. 12 if you count Little Mac. Let's go 12 because we're counting Little Mac. It's better than 9. I'm trying to decide if it's a 10 or if it's 11. I'm definitely taking a point off for not giving me passwords that can get me to individual boxers. And you know what? You can call this unfair if you'd like. I am going to take a point off because I think this should have battery saves where you can keep track of your best times and records. If like Super Punch-Out had it, it's one of the best things Super Punch-Out does. And at this point, The Legend of Zelda existed. It could have been done. So I'll go, you know what? I'll split the difference and I'll go 10.5. 10.5 out of 12. Must play on the NES. Top 10 game on the NES. Masterpiece. I fucking love it. For those of you that have been asking, I think I mentioned this in the infamous intro. At some point, I will review the Wii version. I've only ever played it once, but I do have a Wii now. I will pick up a copy of Punch-Out to play through it for the show at some point. And Nintendo, if you're listening to this, you've probably already come after me for using some of your music in the shows, even though I do it to fucking promote your games. Please give us a new Punch-Out. You don't have to make it. Give it to one of your partners. Give it to it. Dude, can you guys fathom what an indie studio could do with the Punch-Out? Not Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, but although Mike Tyson would probably do it. Or at least he would have before that Jake Paul payday. Now I don't know if he would. But like, can you imagine what an indie studio could do with this? Even like, it doesn't even matter if they made a modern looking one that was more cartoony, like the Wii Punch-Out, or if they went back to like this. I'd love to see this. I would love to see another one like this. Make it 16-bit, but keep it looking like this. I would be fucking awesome. I'd love to see a new modern retro. I know it makes sense. It makes sense. A modern retro Punch-Out. I think that'd be fucking awesome. I feel like this franchise has been thrown into the. It's like it's down there guarding the B with Star Fox and Mother and Kid Icarus and fuck. What other franchises have they forgot? F-Zero for fuck's sakes. And it's just, listen, I love Mario. I love Zelda. I love Donkey Kong. I want all those. But like, don't forget the mediocre presidents. Give us some more, you know? Dig out some of your old IPs. Give them to other studios to split the profits and just make more fucking money. Anyway. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring up some Mike Tyson's Punch-Out music one more time. And then when it ends, we'll go to the outro. I'll thank everybody. And then I will get this up in the next hour and a half for all of you to listen to it. All right? Cheers. That is going to do it for this week's episode. Me. Thank you so much for giving me a call and talking Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And most importantly, you. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Only who can thank you for listening to the show? And then you hit the me or the it's the Sims. You shout out to whoever gets that reference. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it so much. If you liked this, go through our archives. I guarantee you we've covered some more games you like. There's 335 of these fucking things. We've covered a ton of games. And there's new ones coming pretty much every Wednesday. I miss the occasional Wednesday. But fortunately, I have 1,000 or so episodes in our Patreon archives to pick from and drop on the main feed to help buy me some time to play through games to review them here on the show. And if you want to listen to all those Patreon episodes, throw me $3. And you can go over there and get a whole bunch of them. The minute you sign up, new ones every week. Plus, remember the game is available over there ad-free with timestamps. Patreon.com/remember the game. It's the lifeblood of this show. Trying to think of what else. Oh, yeah. Leave us a good review, please. I read them. They make me feel good about myself. I appreciate those. I'm out of here. I'm gone on holidays for not 1, not 2, but 3 weeks. I cannot fucking wait. But have no fear. I've got your podcast covered. If you're a Patreon, all your regular shows minus Game Patch will be popping up as scheduled. And if you listen to here on the free feed to remember the game, next week, like I said, I'm going to raid our Patreon archives and cover off for an episode. It's going to be all about the SNES. We're just going to be looking back on the Super Nintendo, our favorite memories, favorite games. It's a nostalgia-fueled sex romp where anything goes. And then the week after that, Tyler and I are talking Gears of War 2. And then the week after that, my boy Dan and I are talking Mega Man X2. So some big episodes coming up. I hope you enjoy them. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to thank some Patreons, and then I am out of here. Have a great next 3 weeks, and I'll talk to y'all when I get back. Cheers. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I could not puke up all the content I churn out every week without all of your support. The following people are at the senior executive vice president level or higher at patreon.com/rememberthegame, and as such, I am contractually obligated to say all their names as fast as I can. So a huge thank you to Remember the Game Hall of Famer, Slick Motherfucking Rick, Makeshift Mallow Magic Money, Sharonic, J Nasty 15, Jort King Keegs, Dan of Dissect That Film, Doug Dorn, Chris Fleury, Andrew Wright, Jordan, Eldest Millennial, Little Bunny Fufu 89, Angry Ticks, Dave Thompson, No One Cares, Scott Brooks, Aaron Lawson, JSK Fusick, A-Town Morgan, Zane Donovan, Ryan Kinchin, Mike Maloney, G9PSX, Mercury 869, Wolfgang Darren, Andy Hudson, Doogie, Wolf Magic 21, Johnny from Virginia, Squid, Steen Donian, Titan 420, Zonko 504, Jeff Bergeron, Daniel, John Woodruff, Randy Barrage, Just a Fish, Noop Q, Holmes, Zach Shepard, Captain Black Silver, Triple 3, Chugger 22, Elijah Burns, It's That Nerd, James, Madam Nutsich, DBXJ, Steve Dalk, my voice is cracking all over the place. Steve Dalk, Standard Ass Brian, Dude Where's My Game, Mizuru, Juris, Dr. Mario, Tyler, Phil Lencher, Joe the Sandman, Jake Carter, Laces Out Dan, Growlywog, Beaver Boy, Thomas Smith, Leroy Westrich, Rush's Dog Walker, Stud Steel Smash, Nat Babanu, Gabe, Fuzzy99, Decoy Man, a dude named Adam, Wyatt the Surgeon who is not a surgeon, Rowe, Blaine the Hoagie Man, Scary Terry, Storm Beagle, Archangel Otaku, Earl, Hagel Waffle, High Plains Drifter, Jimothy, Oroku Saki's Gardener, Cody Richardson, General Fury. I use small words to help Adam say it more good. Thank you. Max Lagroom, James War Francesco, John of the Adult Children Podcast, Mr. Arkansas, Drugs are bad, MK, Sam Carpenter, Donnie the Dude, Walter, Nerdy Hybrid, Sleeper Hits, Squeak Nuts, Isaias, Hits Meals, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Wimp of Stupid Stooges, TTRPG, Christian Gabriel, Maverick Marty, Musty Beetle, Graham Kennedy, Timothy Sabrinsky, My Left Nut, Beef Dingleberry, Quiet Place Queen, Christopher Bridge, Zamatos, Big the Cat, Tadpole, T-Bear 87. I'm sure Adam will play Bowser's Fury, Brandon DeZeba, Kia Pup, Monstrous the Boner, AB Kellen works for me, Ted Explosion, Ryan Perry, Alex R, Itchy Nutsuru, please refrain from tasting the knob, Scotty J, Just Car Pranks, Zombie Exy, Bartman Forever, Darth Skywalter, Postman, Nick Creature, Adam Martinet, The Big Deal, Ryan Donahue, Kevin Monroe, Can't Destroy Her, Pee Wee Squitters, Nordak, Leroy Jenkins, Lord Palmerston, Beers of War, Because 19, Infinity Rage, Marcus Mendoza, Lord Long Robot, Huge and Dom II, Roger Staubach's Pool Cleaner, Lucas Shaman, Frosty Bear, Max Saindon, Sour Goat Face, Faded Sufferance, Benjamin Atkins, Carbon Fiber Zombie, Chris Hillis is scared, that could be anyone's ass, Beam Money, Penguin Milk, Fallen Snow Kiku, The Supreme Chozorizo, you son of a bitch, why? Tell me why. E-Man Trucker, Mark Sneed, Shoeboxers, Adam Blake still hasn't reviewed Mario Galaxy, Jake Callahan, Robbie Ayers, Sabin, Brian Richmond, Blobbert Rogers, Bula, Matt Zeus, Too Much Karma, Plow King, Cesar, Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, Liquor Like Luigi, Cody Thompson, Kevin Kellums, Plimpton H, Chaz Hammond, Mr. Jabroni, Big Daddy Randall, Ida Yellow, Ryan Whitcomb, Justin Tate, Daddy's Secret Little Chubby, Nothing Could Possibly Go Wrong, Toby O.P., Scotty McGee, Alex McIntyre, Spider Cat, S, Eric Hopewell, Darbles, Generic Name 238, Gannon's Magnum Dong, fucking gets me. David Schroeder, Muncal, Diablo Spartan, Justin Blair, McCracken, Wilco, VOS Rager, Super Jess, Captain Steve N, Ryan Stemmerding, Conebread, Wreck-It Ralphie, Dazerith, Super Cyan, Safarioth, Savage Boosh, Grim Patron, MacGyver 88, Travis Sanders, Lord Salazar, Flater Flav, Captain Asberry Juice, Doogie Bowser MD, Topher Love, Thunder Leaps, Legendberry, Jinxie 425, Akiris Network, Horrorstulgia, a podcast, Jeff Leopard, Game Boy Gannon, Fancy Store-Bought Dirt, Bot Fokker, Mikey Hag, Shane's World, Trooper Galactus, Exotic Chaotic, Just James Spooky Dookie, Profound, Frank Preeves, The Okayest of Muffins, and Landed Turquoise. Woo! Woo-hoo! Ah, my throat is like sandpaper. All I have left to do is actually record the Mike Tyson discussion that I haven't done yet, and then one more expansion pass. My voice just needs to hold up for about 90 more minutes. We're gonna make it. We're gonna fucking make it, baby. I'm king of the world. Woohoo! Shout out. You guys get it. Love you. Thanks for listening. See ya. Bye.